Yo, what is up, guys? Ethan here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be going over my most underrated teams for this upcoming college football season. Now, I'm pre-recording this video and my next video, which is going to be the overrated teams, and if any news comes out in between these days, I won't be able to cover it, as this video is going to be uploaded on Monday. My overrated teams will be uploaded on Wednesday, and then I'll be back for Thursday if anything happens. But in both of these videos, I'll be giving you 5 teams in basically all the conferences that are playing football. But literally out of the 10 teams, there's only one that's not Power 5. So the majority of these teams will be Power 5 teams. I just wanted to get that out there. And yeah, we're going to start with the dude on the thumbnail, Brandon Eccles, as Kentucky is my first underrated team in this video. And I think a lot of people are going to think that Kentucky's not that good because, first off, the SEC is just so dominant, and Kentucky is just in a mix with dominant teams. It's very similar, like the Dallas Mavericks. They could be like a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference, but they're the 7th seed in the West. Well, that's just NBA, but it's kind of similar like to that in college football. And mainly because their superstar player, Lynn Bowden Jr., did get drafted by the Raiders, and now he's in the NFL. So you don't have your key player. But we also have to remember that Bowden only played because your star quarterback, Terry Wilson, got injured, I'm pretty sure, the first game of the season. So you didn't even have your star quarterback out there. Now, I do know Kentucky's offense did get a little bit weaker, especially with that offensive line. But your defense, led by one of my favorite players, Brandon Eccles, that defense is one of the most underrated defenses in all of college football. Now, when I say that, I'm not going to say, oh, Kentucky's going to have a top 10 defense in the entire nation. Well, it actually could happen since, like, the Oregons are not going to be playing. But I'm not going to be going out and going on a limb saying they're going to be a top 10 defense. But their defense is definitely going to be able to shut down some top-tier teams. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to be stopping Alabama and only force them to 10 points. But this defense is really good, led by your senior, Brandon Eccles, who, even though he didn't have an interception, one of the best coverage corners in the entire nation. And if you've been on this channel for a while, you already know how much I like Brandon Eccles as a player. But he and Terry Wilson basically are underrated themselves. And just because of that, Kentucky overall is an underrated team. My second team is another team that you guys know I think is underrated, and that's going to be Pittsburgh this year. Now, I know that their star player, Jalen Twyman, did decide to opt out. Now, even though that is a huge blow to that Panthers defense, your defensive line was really good at Pittsburgh anyway. And even though you lost your star, it's still going to be probably a top 3 defensive line in the ACC this upcoming year. And as you know, another underrated player, Paris Ford, which has been on the cover of my thumbnails, I think you know what I'm trying to say. But Paris Ford, underrated safety, and you're going to be looking at these teams, and for the underrated teams, they just have underrated stars in general that are the main reason why they're underrated. But the offense is definitely going to be a key concern for this Pittsburgh team. I do think Kenny Pickett is definitely going to have a breakout senior year. I've been talking about that for the last few videos I've been bringing up the Pittsburgh, but I love this Pittsburgh team. And even though I don't think they're going to win the division, as I think North Carolina, Miami, Virginia Tech, before they lost Caleb Farley, had a real chance, Pittsburgh, I could definitely see being a top 2, top 3 team in that Coastal Division. So Pittsburgh is another underrated team. Now, the third team I have is the only non-Power 5 team, and that's going to be SMU in the American. And even though their defense is not as good as the majority of the American teams really don't have a key defense besides like the UCFs and the Cincinnatis. SMU's offense is just deadly underrated. Sam Boucher, former Texas quarterback, transferred to SMU last year, and SMU started 8-0. Besides, I could be mistaken, but they only lost 2 games last year, at Navy and at Memphis. Those two stadiums are just super hard to play in general, and both of those were on primetime. One was on ABC, one was a night game on CBS Sportsnet, but SMU just lost on the road to really good teams last year. But SMU, Sonny Dykes, that is going to be a great relationship. I brought this up in the American team rankings. If you have not checked that out, go watch it. But Reggie Robinson Jr. and super underrated wide receiver, mainly because just nowadays there's so many good wide receivers in college football. And Robertson and SMU and Shane Boucher and Sonny Dykes, all of those just make this SMU team underrated. Now, I do have to say one thing. SMU is probably the worst team in this underrated category, but still, SMU, in my opinion, is going to finish top 4 in the American standings. Number 4, we have Duke, and I might have lied. Duke may be the worst team in this underrated category. And do I think Duke's going to make a bowl game? No. I don't think Duke's going to make a bowl game. But everyone is plain out saying Duke is a top 2 worst team in the ACC. And that is when I get really upset. Chris Rumph II is an underrated defensive end. I think he's actually a first-round talent for this upcoming NFL draft. I don't have his name right in front of me as of right now, but Victor, and on the other side of Chris Rumph, another great defensive end. He's entering his senior year. And I brought this up in the ACC team rankings as well. I think Chase Bryce, stupid airplane, I'm sorry if you hear that. But Chase Bryce, I really think he's going to play really well for that Duke offense. And even though defense is going to be the main thing for Duke, that offense, it's not going to be a top-tier offense. But that offense led by Chase Bryce, I think is going to get the job done. And they could definitely get a few upsets this year with that ACC schedule. And the number 5 team, I was debating if I wanted to put them right here, as Duke, SMU, Kentucky, and Pitt were the main teams. And my 5th one is Baylor. And I only have Baylor here because I know they lost a lot of star power. I literally brought that up in my last video on my top 25. James Lynch, I'm not sure how well they're going to perform. And I kept on saying that they lost all this talent, but people are saying, well, I'm not going to say a lot of people, but a few people that I know are saying Baylor's not even a bowl team. They're not going to make a bowl game this year. And that is just absurd to me. Charlie Brewer is a great quarterback. I'm not going to say great, but he's a great scheme fit with that Baylor offense. And I'm just a huge fan of Brewer. I think John Lovett's going to have a breakout season for that Baylor offense. And even though that defense took a big few hits, Aranda came in from LSU. That defense at LSU was phenomenal last year. And I know that Baylor doesn't have the talent like LSU did. But that coaching, even though the players may not be as good, the coaching may make that defense even better than what it was last year. And even though that offense is the key question point, at least your top 2 players are on the offense, and those 2 are definitely going to make that Baylor team good. And if anyone says Baylor is not a bowl team, just say that they're absurd, as that is just a big old lie. And I think Baylor is easily a top 6 team in that Big Ten. Even though I think TCU's defense is better, Baylor's right up there with those big dogs in the Big 12. So that is it for my most underrated teams for this upcoming college football season. In the comment section below, is there any teams that you disagree with or any teams that I missed out on? Just leave it in the comment section below. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, share, subscribe, and like always, have a good day. Peace out.